Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Student Spotlights. It's a very special episode for me. Bryce has a very special story. Number one, getting in touch with us and how he got connected to Chart Addicts and his trading journey throughout the years. We have a lot of similar interests between combat sports and trading, and we use that to kind of go through the similarities. So, Bryce, first, welcome. And second, you want to walk through kind of how you got into trading and how you got here today?
Yeah. So I first started trading because my job that I had, they were forcing vaccine mandates. And that was something that I wasn't willing to do. And one of my buddies I went to high school with, he was a full-time day trader. So I hit him up on the side. I told him what I was going through, and I need like a fast track course basically to get to trading because I need to be profitable as soon as possible, right? So I went through with him, did a bunch of training with him. I learned a lot from him. I can't take any away from that. But that's kind of how I got into trading. And then throughout the years, I found you guys, and then I got in with you all. So I mean, I've only been trading for 2 years and 3 months now.
Now obviously you're an exceptional learner and you kind of already have a lot of the qualities that it takes to be successful from the years of discipline that you had with fighting and MMA and things. So what do you feel like allowed you to pick things up so quick? Like what I don't know how to really, yeah.
I mean,
It takes them a long time to get it to click.
for sure. Well, for sure. So I think what you said kind of nailed it on the head there is like having the discipline from doing the combat sports, right? Like I've been doing MMA, boxing since I was 13, MMA for about 10 years now. And that discipline that you learn from that sport, it correlates to everything that you do in your life. And I'm also one of those type of people when I find something that I like, I really obsess over it, right? So when I first started doing it, I'm not saying to do this, but I mean, it was like day and night. I was staying up till 3, 4 in the morning, getting up at like 7, going to my job, looking at the charts while I'm at my job and just constantly studying because I really thought that I was going to lose that main source of income. And, I really didn't want to go back to working a 9 to 5 if I was going to lose that. So I just kind of dove deep into it. And yeah, I mean, just being obsessive over it, right? Almost to an unhealthy level. That really does help.
I mean, depends who you ask, whether it's healthy or not. Because it seems like when you're in a situation where you could lose your livelihood,
Hmm.
you're either gonna freeze or you're gonna do something about it. And it seems like you were dead sure on doing something. So do you feel like if you had a superficial reason to get into trading, like something like you wanted a cool lifestyle, you would have had the same level of drive or sense of urgency? Or do you feel like because it was so real, the idea of losing your job, it really pushed you to work that hard?
Yeah, I definitely agree. The sense of that urgency behind it was what really, really drove me. And like, yeah, of course, who doesn't want to live that cool luxury lifestyle that you see, right? But it's that was my main driving factor is I was going to lose that position, right? And I really didn't want to go back to doing a corporate office job anymore. So I think, yeah, you're right with that. That's what really kind of pushed me to that.
There it is. So you have a unique story of how we met and how we got connected. You also came to the FX Summit, and you have a very unique FX Summit story too. You want to walk through a little backstory for people who don't know
Yeah,
who
for
you
sure.
are. And now you're an educator at Chart Addicts, and so you want to walk through kind of the timeline here.
Yeah. So I believe it was a year ago in November when I first joined ChartAddicts, right? And I had went from my buddy, I was in his group, and then I found Trader Society with Anthony and Derek, and I stayed with them for a while, and then I just didn't feel like we were getting enough out of it, and then that's when I saw one of your live streams. And actually, this is the funny part of it. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. I actually joined ChartAddicts because I joined your live stream one time, and I asked a stupid question, and you roasted me, bro. You roasted me on it. And I was like, I like that. I was like, I deserved that and I liked it. So I just respected the realness of it, right? And I was like, that's who I want to be taught by. And from there, I joined and I just stayed very active in the group because it's something that I've been obsessed with for it was like a year at that point. And I heard about the summit from you guys, all that good stuff. And then I got tickets, or you guys got us tickets to the summit. Me and Brandy, my fiance, we flew down there and I ended up meeting you guys. Got to experience that whole thing. You gave me the VIP pass, got to get on the boat and everything. It was one of the coolest experiences ever. And it made me realize that this group isn't just about trading. It's like, I don't like saying the family aspect of it, but you really take care of your people, right? And I
Mhm.
think that's something that's super special with Chart Addicts is once we have this community, we have such a strong connection with everyone. It was just nothing but love when I was there. And it was awesome, man. It was
Yeah.
such a cool experience.
Dude, and you were after us. Like you were very adamant and you were making sure everything was planned out because you had certain things that you wanted to do. And I think that that's incredible. And so
Yeah.
it's like some people are probably listening like, well, I never got a free ticket or something. It's like, dude, if you're around the community and you're around the right people, if and you're after it, there's a lot you can get out. So I think it's awesome how you took advantage of that. So what was your experience like at the summit, real quick, so I can get your take?
Man, it overshot my expectations by far, right? Like it was one of the coolest events I've ever been to because it was structured so well. I mean, from the panels to the workshops to the expo, like it was incredible. And just to be around everyone that's trying to reach the same goal was incredible. It really was because every single person there was dedicated to trading or crypto or being an entrepreneur, one of those three things, right? And just be able to talk to these people and pick their brains and meet these people that you'd never get access to, I think was like one of the most important parts of that, right? And you don't even have to have the VIP ticket to talk to these people, right? They're in the expo center, so you can go talk to them at their booths and you can pick their brain. And everyone was so welcoming too. It was really cool, man. I think that was like the most important part is that you get all this knowledge in 3 days. And I mean, I still have a notepad full that I'll just read through some stuff. So
Bro, you just gave people the hack. By the way, you just gave people the networking hack for FX Summit. I love it. So I love it. So a lot of folks, I mean, and you've had I guess, the opportunity to see a lot of different traders at Chart Addicts at this point. You've seen your own kind of ups and downs in trading.
mhm.
What are some of the biggest things that you're seeing traders struggling with? Right? There's like the cliche stuff, there's the generic stuff. Like, what are you seeing
Mhm.
specifically that folks, if they just fix these few things, would tremendously improve their trading?
I don't know if this falls in the cliche stuff, but over leveraging, right? And it's not just over leveraging, but it's you get confident, right? You win those three, four, five trades. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? This next one, I'm going to double my lot size instead of sticking to that strategy that you planned. And then that trade doesn't go your way. And then you start revenge trading and you start trying to chase that and chase it and chase it and make it back. And then you blow your account, right? Or you lose your funded account. And it's like, man, I went through those cycles, right? And it all comes back to that one word of discipline, right? I think discipline is the most important thing that a trader can have because if you're not following your strategy, you'll never be successful in trading,
For
right?
sure.
And everyone's strategy is different, right? It's like, are you willing to lose 1% a day? Stick to that. Are you more risky and willing to lose 2 to 3%? Stick to that if you lose it. Or if you're up 2% for the day, stop trading. No more trades, even if you see the most perfect setup, right? So, and that still, I think, all falls back to discipline.
Yep. And a big part of that specific example is experience. Like
Yes.
everybody could have the most amount of willpower, but once you've made the right choice enough times and you've seen the results of it, because no one wants to make the right choice, like to walk away because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
Like the reason that we know the over trading and over leveraging and revenge trading happens is a sense of I don't want to be in this situation where I feel like a loser, where I feel like I lost this money, or I feel like hurt my account or hurt my progress. So they want to just get back to whole, like we all do. So after enough times you make the right choice to walk away, and like you don't catch on fire, like nothing bad happens, you realize that okay, it's gonna be okay if you make the right choice.
Right.
That starts to get baked in. Experience plays a big role.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and it's funny too because it's almost like if you would just cut your loss, like you said, you would stop yourself from blowing your account, which is a worst case scenario. So like you would think that'd be the most obvious choice to make, but when you're actually in the moment trading, it's like you're just hoping for that one jump up or that one jump down to make your money back. So
Dude, sometimes when I'm in that situation, I see myself like a kid with a band-aid on. And
mhm.
whenever I don't want to close the trade or that feeling comes up, I just think about I'm like crying about the band-aid getting ripped off. And like the sooner I rip it off, I'm gonna avoid an infection or like they're gonna amputate my arm if this thing gets worse. Like you could just rip the band-aid off. And so every time I'm just like, all right, that's the easiest choice to make is to act. So I think it's really important. So I mean, you mentioned having the discipline, avoiding over trading and revenge trading. I mean, talk to me about your trading before Chart Addicts and after. Like, what are the biggest changes that you've made?
The biggest changes I made is I actually have a strategy, right? So it's like, I mean, before, like, I thought I had a strategy, but until me and you kind of sat down, did one-on-ones, I realized that I didn't have a strategy at all, right? It was just kind of hoping and guessing. So, I wrote up that roadmap to past challenges and just sticking to that is like, it's easier said than done, obviously, because you know, we're all human and we all have those instincts. But think I think the biggest thing was having a strategy. And I know kind of like repetitive of what I'm saying, but I mean it's so important. It's so important. At least for me, that was my biggest changing point.
So
You know, because you
like,
can you can have yeah.
I was going to say, you wanted to walk through the difference between just having like a trading system versus having a
Mhm.
full strategy, like how you're going to deploy this system.
Okay, 100%, right? So that's a really good distinction, right? Because like before, I would call myself like maybe a supply and demand trader, right? You know, like I'd find levels of supply and demand and I would take trades at those levels. And it would work out sometimes and then sometimes it wouldn't. And then when you compare that with having a strategy, it's like you hits these levels, I know how to scale into it now. So that way I'm not putting a full standard right at it, right? I'll scale into it and then as it pulls back, I'll lower or exit out of my worst entries, right? And then on top of that, it's like if it does hit my stop loss, just letting it go and just completely close the trade, walk away from it, right? You'll live trade another day. And then I would also say taking partials, right? That was a big game changer for me. So scaling in and taking partials was a huge one for me,
Right. So
right?
there's
Because
three
like,
things there that's crucial. So there was your actual execution criteria, which you have to get very clear on because you can't just follow like a generic thing like, oh, when it hits support, I have to buy it. When it hits resistance, there's
right.
if it was that easy, if this was ping pong, if this was Tetris, everybody would be a trillionaire. There's a little bit more to it. So you talked about the criteria for what to really look for, but then you
Mhm.
also mentioned your execution criteria, scaling into trades to make sure that your risk management is there, and then your trade management and exits. So kind of taking partials and taking some off the table.
Yeah.
Most people have thought about one, if they're lucky. They've thought about one of these three things. So did you always have all three of those different components figured out? Like, or is this something that's recent?
No, yeah, there's no before, dude, before, no, not even close, right? It was like I would just put my biggest lot size and just pray it worked out, right? It was almost like a spray and pray type situation, right? Like you just put it in there and you hope it works, right? So it's like now understanding how to scale and then descaling as it's going in your direction and holding your best position and then also taking the partials like that, putting all that together is what made me successful in trading, which, you know, not 100% successful, but a lot better in trading, right?
I mean, there is no like destination in trading. It
Right.
really is a progress game because at
Mhm.
some point you're profitable. But then making progress is really just about improvements, optimizing, getting more capital, getting more confidence, getting more experience. And
Mhm.
so it's like, especially if people are listening, there is no peak. Anybody who thinks like one day it's going to click and I'm going to be riding forever, you have to show up the best version of yourself every week. And so you know this through combat sports too. You can't just fake training and then show up and be like, yeah, no, I'm ready. I've done my cardio. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna show on the charts or it's gonna show as soon as you step in. Can you talk about that? So you have a system, but then actually showing up and being the best version to trade that system.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I'm just gonna kind of that's why I did say like not successful because I don't feel like we ever stop growing with trading, right? And it's the same thing with combat sports. I've been doing jujitsu for 10 years and I still learn something new every time I go to class, right? So, anyways, I just wanted to say that. That's why I said not really successful because I don't feel like you ever reach that peak. Now, I'm sorry, what was your question after that?
No, I mean, I really just wanted you to kind of break down the showing up every week.
Hmm.
And like, so you have a great strategy, you have a great system, but if you're not showing up and making sure that you're in the right headspace, or maybe your schedule is set up in a way to deploy that, you're not going to get the results you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, 100%. So, like, just even the way, like, my morning routine has changed a little bit from I can tell a difference from even when I met you guys to now, right? It's like making sure that I'm 100% focused when I'm trading. Because like there'd be times where I was like just kind of on my phone, watching the charts, not really paying attention, and it's like just stupid stuff, right? Like not giving it 100% and treating it like it's my actual job. So like the difference is now when I sit down, I'll listen to music, and that's as furthest as it'll go, right? I'm locked in, and that's why I really don't like selling or placing limits because when I'm trading, I like being in front of the computer. And yes, I'll miss some trades because of that, but it's okay. I'm okay with missing trades, right? But
That's
I
awesome.
like being locked in. So that to me was like the biggest difference before and after, when it comes to like mindset is just being 110% focused, right? I'll even do a little bit of meditation before I get on the charts. I'm just kind of clear my mind, making sure I'm in the right headspace. And there'll be days I don't trade when I'm not in the right headspace. I have stuff going in my personal life or whatever. I'm just not feeling it. I just won't even trade.
That's amazing. So knowing yourself, number one, is key. So that's
Yeah.
like the beginning of everything. And then
Mhm.
building a plan or a strategy that's tailored to your personality and tailored to your schedule and your risk tolerance. I think
Yeah.
that's super key. And so I think that's what experience has showed me with you, as the progress you're making is really just making this yours, like making the strategy yours, making everything kind of fit you. And that's just allowing you to flow in and out of this thing as opposed to trying to trade someone else's system, which I think is crucial. That's awesome.
For sure, for sure. And it's like, I mean, like a lot of the way I trade is the way that you guys trade, but there's like small differences, right? That fit the way that my mind works a little bit better for me. So agree.
Love to see it. That's a student, not a follower, people. Be a student. Okay, so this is a question I ask a lot of folks when we're doing these interviews, which is if your self from a year ago was listening to this,
Mhm.
what would you tell them to help them make give me a general one. What would you tell them? And then give me one specific to trading.
Yeah. So specifically to trading, I would say for me is to slow down and stop trying to rush the process. Right. For me, that would be a big one to hear. Is like you will be successful if you just keep doing it, right? And it's I always relate this a lot of stuff back to like combat sports, and some people get kind of tired of me talking about it, but it's like ingrained into me, right? It's like it took me 10 years to get that brown belt, right? So it's been a long journey. It's like I don't know why I didn't see it that way with trading. You know, I was trying to rush it, rush it, rush it, and it kind of slowed me down a little bit at first, to be honest. So I would think slow down, enjoy the process. That would be the biggest thing I tell myself.
As he said, 10 years. A lot of people use that, oh, people will go to college for 4 years, but they won't, take 4 years to learn trading. I think that's cool, but you can get out of school and still not know a thing. Look
Yeah.
around, people. But you can't get a brown belt without putting in 10 years of work. You
Mhm.
have to know what you're doing to earn that. And I think trading is more like that. It's more like a specialized skill where
Mhm.
mastery comes over time with experience. You see some folks on social media that are black belts and brown belts in trading, right? And they're like, wow,
Mhm.
you can hold so much drawdown or hold these trades. I'm going to do the same.
Mhm.
To your white belt.
Yeah.
Stop trying the Imanari roll, right? Just get back on your feet, man. All right. All right, Bryce, I appreciate you stopping by. Is there anything that you would leave folks with if they're listening to this regarding trading or just regarding success in life?
Yeah, understand that you're going to get beat up in life, right? Physically and mentally. And just understand that you can accept those losses and then move on and move past them at the best, like at the best pace possible for you, right? So I think that would be the best like advice I can give people. Like, we're going to get beat up, but if you continue this straight process, you will be successful at some point.
Accept the beating. That's the only way. You can't live life scared and maybe it happens and maybe it doesn't.
Right.
You got to expect it. That's awesome. Bryce, I appreciate you stopping by. Ladies and gentlemen, come and hang out with me, Bryce, Jacob, the rest of the folks in the VIP group chat at ChartAddicts. Catch you guys on the live streams. Peace.